Maybe. Oh, yep. There we go.
Welcome back, guys. Baby got stacks.
Hi there.
Well,
I don't know why I said it like that. Oh, no.
I
It's
love
the end
this.
of the year. I can't anymore.
Oh, that was great. Well, happy New Year. It is
Happy
the
New Year.
last day of 2023.
Woot.
Which sounds crazy that it will be 2024 tomorrow. That just sounds wrong.
It does. I didn't think I'd make it this far.
My body tried to end it
My body has been
beginning of this
trying
week.
so hard.
My body was like, we can't.
Let's take her out.
This is gonna be I don't know why I always end up getting really well. I was gonna say why I end up getting really sick around New Year's, but
New Year's.
right now I'm okay.
We're solid.
I was not okay at the beginning of this week. Better now. Going to take it easy and not drink tonight. It's gonna be weird. I'm gonna want to, but I'm gonna have to have
You're gonna be the only
flashbacks.
sober one.
I know, but I have
The dogs.
I have thrown up too many times this week, and I would rather not repeat itself. I've had enough. So I'm gonna, I've just had enough. So I'm just gonna take it easy, have some Powerade, maybe have a glass of champagne. Champagne, and call it a night. I'm just gonna be able to watch everything happen, and it's gonna be glorious.
I am curious because us as a friend group, somehow on New Year's, I mean, we know we're gonna go hard, but we never intend to just all somehow go to bed, but just wake up together and we're like, what the hell just happened?
We've had some really crazy New Year's. Our friend group is not the partying group. I mean, we don't go out. We just party together.
This is all done in one of our homes.
Yes, we don't like to mingle with other people
every year. No.
We don't like people. We like each other, and that's enough.
We like each other, and we've maxed out. So we just together.
We've hit our limit, and that's it. So another year, another chaos that's going to ensue. Jello shots are going to be the sponsor of today's episode because that's what's going to happen later tonight.
A lot of Jello shots.
Usually
pretty good. So
yeah, but usually one flavor is the strongest.
Yeah, I should see what he did this year because he never like on purpose makes one specifically stronger. It always just happens.
Now, does he normally use vodka, or I feel like last year he did tequila?
No,
Maybe
it's
not.
usually vodka.
Oh, okay.
Tequila shots, which, God willing, doesn't happen this year.
No, Mel and I had a very strong margarita in Seattle at the beginning of December.
Lord.
And we
I don't even know if we can call it a margarita. That was just tequila on ice.
With a splash of...
With like a breath of strawberry.
Yeah. he dipped the strawberry in there and then called it a day.
Voila.
Yeah, that was the strongest margarita I've ever had. And strong. I thought... So I don't like tequila very much unless it's in a margarita. Like,
right,
I'll take a tequila shot, and the only year or time of year that I'll do it is New Year's. That's the only time I allow myself. Other than that, I really don't like it. This one though was the strongest margarita I've ever had in my life, and I thought I was being wimpy because I don't like tequila. So yeah. But then seeing Mel's face said it all and realized, that was
straight liquor. I needed to water it down. I was like, I think I'm going to be a little bitch right now and add some ice to this.
Yeah, we kind of looked around panicking and we were like, oh no.
I know, we're in this like popular taco restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was rough. The book that we are ending with this year kind of began it all with us buying books. I feel like this was the first book that we bought together.
We were
like the
both big
same one
readers as
together.
kids, and then
Yeah,
college broke our soul. And so then we've gone to
it
a
did.
bookstore afterwards eventually. Maybe like a
Mhm.
year or two back now. I don't remember. But we
Yeah,
saw this
that
one
sounds
and we
about right.
bought it. And then so began our book problem.
And look at where we are now.
And look at us now.
Look at us. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Who'd have thought?
This week we did The Mountain Midwife by Laura Alice Eakes.
Laurie.
Did I say Laura?
Mm-hmm.
I saw the A and the Alice, and my brain just
The
said, "Yep,
name
that goes
is
there."
very close together.
It is.
Kind of just looks like one word. Laurie Alice Eakes.
Okay, you would pronounce that Eakes. Okay, I'm glad
Yeah,
that
we'll
we.
see.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
What did you? We haven't. Well, have you
I don't
seen
even
my
think I've
rating?
marked this that I finished it yet
Oh.
on Goodreads, to be quite honest. So let me go do that.
I stayed up so because I've been trying not to die this week. I did not I was unwell. I did not want to read or look at pages really or really open my eyes too much. So I just put on a lot of Disney movies and did not read until starting the book last night. And I stayed up until 1 a.m. because it honestly the like action or like it was pretty good. I wanted to know how this ended. But once it got to 1 a.m., my eyes started getting a little blurry. I was like, I'm gonna call it a night, and then finished it in the morning. And I got pretty far. I think I got to like 260 something last night, so I didn't have too much more to go on. This book isn't that big. This book is 334 pages, so nothing crazy.
Nothing
At least
crazy,
for
yeah.
us. So yeah, we've never heard of this author before. We kind of just winged it when we were buying books. We thought the cover was very pretty.
We didn't have Goodreads. We were just poking around in a bookstore. And this happened.
How I've lived without Goodreads, I'm not quite
I don't know,
sure.
because last week, if you listened to last week's episode, towards the end, Ashley looked up this book on Goodreads since we hadn't before. And there were some book tags connected to this that
scared me. I was
shocking.
scared. Genuinely scared. What's even more funny to me is that we are ending this year with a Christian book and starting the new year with a very non-Christian book.
We're all about, we're open to all genres. We'll read both ends of the spectrum. So here we are with The Mountain Midwife that is tagged as Christian fiction. Now, neither of us are particularly religious. You do you, but we
are not.
Are not.
Exactly. You do you. We don't discriminate against any religion, we love everyone. Yeah. But I was very scared. Now, this book, there's no cursing at all.
No.
Definitely, I mean, there was 2 kisses.
There were 2 kisses. A lot about babies and pregnant women, but no sex.
Yeah, and like, God forbid they were unwed. A lot of we'll pray for them, God willing.
Or let God take control, like you're not God.
Yeah.
But it nothing wasn't like obnoxious. No,
it definitely was there, and I was just like, this makes sense that it is like in the Christian realm of things.
If I didn't know it was Christian fiction, I would have been a little suspicious, because I mean, like, this is being it's being it's there more often than other books.
Yes. I rated it a 3.75.
I gave it a 3.5.
Okay. There we go.
There it is.
So
I've read way worse.
Oh, 110%. And I will say that the action, like the mystery of like finding out what the main guy's parent, like mom was, who stole the woman, like that kept things interesting. I was like, I want to know.
And I was worried that the mystery or the problems we were trying to solve throughout this book weren't going to be interesting, but this book has drug dealing, it has infidelity, and like juicy stuff where I was like, I need to know.
I know.
Who got with who?
And the twists I thought were pretty good.
You're twisting.
With the cop, I was like,
yeah.
And then to know that Hunter's dad is really,
it got me. In some of the
I was gonna
ends of the chapters, there were some good cliffhangers at the end of the chapter, but I was no, I didn't keep going.
I surprisingly impressed. I know last week we told ourselves that if we didn't like it, we gave each other, the okay to DNF.
Yeah, we gave each other an out. If we wanted to DNF, we could DNF.
I didn't want to DNF.
I didn't want to DNF.
And that's why I gave it such a high rating, because yes, there needed to be cursing. I needed some spice. I needed them to feel a little more human and not Miss and Mr. Perfect. Yeah. But I loved it. I
enjoyed it.
I wanted to know. I was gonna ask if you knew of the twists prior, because you're really good at figuring out where the twists.
I'll let you know. Read the back, and then I'll tell you what I got figured out on my own.
Okay. Now, would you pronounce her last name Tolliver?
I was saying Tolliver.
Tolliver?
If there was an I before the E after the V, I would have said Tollivier, but it was Tolliver in my head.
Tolliver? Okay, that makes sense. Ashley Tolliver has tended to the women of her small Appalachian community for years. As their midwife, she thinks she has seen it all, until a young woman gives birth at Ashley's home and is abducted just as she tries to take the dangerously bleeding woman to the nearest hospital. Now she is on a mission to find the woman and her newborn baby, before it's too late. Hunter McDermott is on a quest to track down his birth mother. After receiving more media attention than he could ever want for being in the right place at the right time, he receives a mysterious phone call from a woman claiming to be his mother. Hunter seeks out the aid of the local midwife in the mountain town where the phone call originated. Surely she can shed some light on his own family background. Ashley isn't prepared for the way Hunter's entrance into her world affects her heart and her future. He reignites dreams of having her own family that she has long put aside in favor of earning her medical degree and being able to do even more for her community. But is it commitment to her calling or fear of the unknown that keeps her feet firmly planted in the Appalachian soil? Or is it something more, fear of her growing feelings for Hunter that makes her hesitant to explore the world beyond the mountains?
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. So, when Hunter got the phone call saying that it was his mom and he needed to come save his sister, I knew that the girl that gave birth and was bleeding excessively was going to be his sister.
I was so oblivious. I'm the worst at these. I was just like,
there's going to be a way they're connected. It's going to be that.
Okay, that makes sense.
I thought, so Jason is the sheriff deputy who's like long-term friends with Ashley. I knew there was going to be more drama with him, but I thought it was going to be him like confessing his love to Ashley and like trying to fight Hunter. Okay. I did not see it coming that he was the one Heather cheated on with and that it was his baby.
I know. So Heather, there's quite a bit of
you get another
characters in this story. Because Ashley is the local midwife, you get a lot of history on the women that she is helping. Heather is one of her really good friends who is also now pregnant. She gets pregnant in the book, finds out that Heather cheated on her husband, Ian, but didn't say at first who the dad was. And then of course, like Ashley was just, oh my, how could she do that? And then she's like, it kind of bugged me because she goes, I should have been there for Heather. Like, basically
should have known
insinuating
that
like
she
if
was
I would have
protecting
known
his-
that she was having marriage trouble, she would have never cheated on me. I'm like, okay, well, no. So come to find out, yeah, she cheats with Jason, the cop, which I was like,
which throughout the book you get a hint of like him really being into Ashley and having a problem with Hunter.
Yeah.
Beyond just him being an outsider, like from the city.
Yeah, exactly. There was one girl that absolutely irked me that Ashley was helping, and that was Mary Kate.
Mary Kate needs to get her shit together.
Mary Kate drove me up the goddamn wall. Oh my gosh.
She's a waitress at the local diner. She already has a son, and she's having like high blood pressure. Yeah, Boyd.
Yeah, we don't need to
anyway.
Go into that. Yeah.
We can get over the name, I guess. She's having like this rattle in her lungs and like has high blood pressure, and Ashley's really worried for her and wants her to go see like a doctor, not just her, the midwife. And progresses into a cough, and she eventually goes to the hospital with her son, who's like malnourished and dehydrated, and she's diagnosed with bronchitis, but she goes home the next day and like has to work because if she doesn't have, that's the only way she has enough money. She makes just barely enough money. There's no running water or heat in her house. Her mom's an alcoholic. Eventually she gets a boy taken away from her.
She doesn't have a car.
But she was just like, no, I'm fine. I'll go to work.
Yeah, she's like very adamant about going to work.
Yeah, very adamant about going to work. And there are some points where Ashley just asked her like, well, don't you want to do right by this baby and like your son? And she kind of just goes silent. And so Ashley's like, you don't mean that.
Yeah, she's like, no.
Hello?
Yeah, it was. And then the dad's like in jail for, I don't remember what. But yeah, so Mary Kate's mom takes care of Boyd, and then I guess she didn't realize that her mom let the fire go out one day, and so Boyd got cold, and then that's when the coughs. It was a whole thing, but Mary Kate was just so stubborn. And then there was a teenager named Rachel who also drove me nuts, who couldn't quit smoking and then lost her baby.
Yeah. And she already has a baby, and she lives with her sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Who's like an aggressively
like chain smoker
who has her own kids, and it's all you get to know these ladies.
Yes. Yeah.
And Ashley has her own issues of like feeling she's responsible for everybody and has to be involved in everything, and she just paid better attention, she could have solved everyone's problems.
Yeah.
Calm the fuck down.
Yeah, she's just like all over the place. And
which I did like when she's talking to everybody, everyone's like, stop trying to play God, and she's like, I'm not. Hey, you are.
Yeah, yes you are.
Yes, you are.
I did like, so this has a dual POV of Hunter and Ashley, but it's not like, usually in chapters it'll say like Hunter or Ashley,
or the title of the chapter is who's,
but this one doesn't, and sometimes it switches in the middle,
mid chapter.
But honestly, really easy to follow.
It really was, because they were either, it like quickly mentioned themselves or someone else from how they were looking, so you could tell where you were. There was one mistake somewhere, I forget what page, I didn't mark it down, but it was when Hunter was going into the diner by himself. It was right before Ashley was gonna confront Mary Kate in the basement smashing pumpkins.
As one does, yes.
But like you could tell you're in Hunter's perspective, and then the next sentence was like, Ian sat down, blah blah blah. And so I was like, wait, we're getting Ian's perspective now? Like Heather's husband.
Oh yeah.
But then it keeps going into like talking about Hunter, what Hunter was doing. I'm like, oh, I think they just fucked up the name there.
Yeah, I think she just screwed up.
Editing.
Yeah, well, who needs that?
One of those things. But it did confuse me for a little bit, and I was like, oh.
No, this was very, like, right off the bat. So right off the bat, we start with Ashley. She's at her home. Someone's using the doorbell, and she's got like a thing where if they use it, I think twice, it's like
she has a certain signal code or something. Yeah.
And so they used it 3 times. She's like, oh no.
That
and then
means
she runs in,
emergency.
and then this guy was like being super weird, and like she thought they were they did lie about their names. It was Jane and John. Like, how obvious is that?
Yeah, she was even like, wow, creative.
Yeah. And so she's trying to help them, and then she's realizing that the mom is hemorrhaging, needs to get her to the hospital, realizes she doesn't have cell service. They're up in the mountains. So she goes outside to use her cell phone. And then all of a sudden this truck is like coming, and then she realizes, oh, my newborn baby and a woman that's bleeding is now gone. So she's freaking out. And then you get, you go straight into Hunter's perspective of how he was overseas, helped a little girl that ran to the road and a family by there's a car bomb in the street, and he helped save them. And so all of a sudden the media was just like on him,
hounding him.
And he grew up in like a really wealthy family, and so he's trying to go home. And out of all the voicemails that he had gotten from everyone trying to like contact him, there was this lady that called him Zachariah, which he goes by Hunter, but on his birth certificate it says Zachariah. And so he was like, this woman knows my birth name. This is very strange. And she said that I'm your mother. And he had no idea that he was adopted. And this man's in his 30s, early 30s.
Like 30, yeah.
Yeah. And so you find out that his mom lives in the same area as Ashley. And so he uses her to help because he figured since he found out that he was born at home, it would have been a midwife that had helped him.
He confronted his parents and find out he's adopted.
Yeah.
So he goes to search.
And so that's where he meets Ashley, and they go on the quest of, one, her trying to find these missing people that were in her house, because they also cut her phone cords, and she keeps seeing this big black truck that's like after her. And so she realizes,
and a man broke into her house and was like, where are the Davises?
Which I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
We got breaking and entering.
Yeah.
He smells like a cat box. Got some meth going on.
Got meth.
I was like, wow, okay. I'm impressed. And so then they're going around trying to find all the answers. And then, we find out that, so Ashley's grandmother is the one that had helped with the birth of Hunter. Falsified records, which we later found out, saying that the mom was dead because his mom's father, so Hunter's grandfather, was very abusive. And so Ashley's grandma had falsified records saying that the mom died in childbirth, so that way the father would not try to find her. Which Ashley was really upset about, but I was like, girl, she's trying to save people.
Yeah, she really held her grandma and her mom up on a pedestal about being the midwife and meticulous records and like, everything being very legal. And again, she tries to play God, so she's like, of course, like, would never think that her grandma would ever do anything like that. And it's part of her journey of realizing that, like, what's important were the patients, even if that meant falsifying a record. Like, her grandma was trying to keep her safe.
Yeah. And so you find out that the mom actually is alive, but not for much longer. And then you find out by him reading like the mom's diaries that there was a Mr. M, and that's who his dad was, and he realizes that Mr. M is actually his father.
Yeah, his it was just dad that he grew up with was actually his dad.
And they never told him. I was like, wow, you might as well, if you're going to tell him everything, you might as well just tell him everything.
Yeah, and be like, no, I'm actually your father. I can see where the dad would have been
like weird with the mom right there.
Like, with the mom being there, and like, the mom knew that he had cheated on her and this is the baby. But this is like something they've dealt with years ago, and so they've kind of already put it to rest, and so I could see where it'd be awkward,
which is wild for
back up.
Just wild for the mom, for her to find out that her husband had an affair, then got the woman pregnant, then they were like, you know what, we're gonna raise this child as our own, To be reminded every day.
Every day. And there was a point where Hunter was talking to his dad on the phone with like, how could she raise me? Like, knowing I'm like an everyday reminder that your husband was not faithful.
Yeah.
It's like, that is wild. But she had 2 kids and then couldn't have any more kids, but she wanted another baby. So that's why Hunter has such an age gap with his other siblings.
Yeah.
Wild. But then you find out he also has a half brother and a half sister from Sheila Brooks.
Sheila, yeah.
Who's not doing well. And then they're describing these kids and then Ashley realizes like, oh fuck, that's the girl I helped.
Also her name.
Racy. Like has 2 sons with biblical names, but Racy.
I know. There's Zachariah, Jeremiah.
And then Racy.
I'm like, Racy's doing some racy things. So
Racy
checks out.
What was her full name? Was it Racy Jane? It was Racy something.
I thought it was Racy Jane. That sounds right.
Jane?
It does sound familiar. And then we find out that the guy that was after, so basically the night that Racy came to have the baby, she was with her brother Jeremiah, and that's why he was being super weird. And then the guy that was after them was Bo, Racy's boyfriend, who's also the meth dealer. And so he was trying to kill them because they knew of the business. The whole shebang. So, and then Sheila, well, she doesn't die.
Not in this book.
Well, no. I mean, she definitely does, but they don't kill her off.
She's like on hospice care now.
Yeah. And then Ashley got into med school and then decides, nah.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay. Like, I get it, but
her reasoning was all wrong. Like she said.
The first time?
Yeah. And I did want to mention the author's note at the beginning. Did you read it by chance? I'll read it to you now.
I might have.
Well, it says, many of you will recognize the names mentioned in this book, such as Tolliver Brooks Penvenen, which is Heather's last name, which is very difficult to say.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they belong to the descendants of the people living within the pages of my historical novels set in Virginia and Cornwall, since the notion of passing along the skill of midwifery, which I think is a funny word, midwifery, was strong in my previous midwife books. I couldn't resist keeping the tradition alive enough to last the next 200 years. Remember when we were looking through her other books and I was like, does she have like a midwife series? But those are their ancestors.
Oh.
Almost like.
Okay.
Yeah, Esther from Choices of the Heart, her book Choices of the Heart, wanted her daughter to be a doctor. Unfortunately, I realized later that the daughter would come of age during the Civil War, making medical school unlikely. So I have embedded the idea that one woman in the family should yearn for this more traditional medical training and place that burden upon Ashley in the 21st century.
Honestly, good thinking on her part.
Right? Just weave it all. Kind of like how Taylor Jenkins Reid, her books are all kind of in the same universe, has little mentions every now and then.
I like that. I also, for some reason, thought this book was going to be like in the 1800s. I don't know why.
I definitely thought at least before the 1930s. I don't know why.
I think probably the midwife. Like, you don't hear very
midwives
much.
Being in the Appalachian, being rural.
I know. I just thought it was going to be later, and then when she was talking about like a Tahoe, I was like, oh, okay, this is
her Tahoe, and she has like the proper equipment.
I was like, oh, being okay. Well, Esther, isn't that Ashley's middle name?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
it's a family name.
Interesting.
It was a fun little connection. Will I read the other ones? Probably not.
I was just about to say, would I read it? No, but no. It's fun.
Would I pick up another book by this author? Not on purpose.
I will say it was not as bad as I anticipated.
I was scared, but it actually, was a little more forthcoming than I feel like. I feel like the title Christian fiction might have pigeonholed this book a little bit.
I was genuinely scared. I was
very worried it was not going to be interesting. But like the second that's like she was like, "Oh, the man smelled like cat pee. That's where the smell came from." And they're like, "Oh, that's what like making meth smells like." I was like, "Oh, okay." Getting into it.
I know. I was like, okay.
Does on the back of your book the barcode? Mine's kind of torn off, so I can just read fiction. Does it say literary fiction or does it say Christian fiction?
Just says fiction.
Oh, okay. So I wonder how like known. If like we really just missed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because my fiction is like off to the side and it's torn. So I didn't know if But like I would keep this book.
Yeah, it's very pretty. We also only paid $9.60 for it.
Good for us.
I have
Let's go.
I've got the sticker on it.
I have the residue of the sticker that I of course tore off the second it probably entered my little grubby hands.
As I'm throwing my phone. Well, yeah, I'm very bad at taking stickers off. I'm just like, I'll get to it eventually, and then I never do. So this book is at a 3.79 on Goodreads.
Okay.
It's got 4,128 ratings. Mainly, well, 5 stars are beaten 4 stars.
Okay.
So it's, oh gosh, my phone.
Oh,
so,
yes. Okay, just barely, but it's there, yeah.
It's there. All right, let's get into this. Let's see.
I feel like this author is probably a popular one in Christian fiction, so those seeking out Christian fiction would probably definitely be into this.
Yeah. People said cliche ending, predictable and cheesy. Book was pretty bad. I love a good cheesy Christian fiction as much as the next person, but this book took it to a level that I couldn't believe.
I don't know if I'd call it cheesy.
Given her occupation, I found her to be unrealistically judgmental and not very nice.
She really was. Every time it was mentioned about like her accent or something, she was so quick to defend herself. Be like, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" Like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah, or she was very judgmental about her friend Heather. Like, how could she cheat on Ian?
Or like whenever like even the slightest thing, she would be like, "I have a degree in this and a master's degree from here, and I have." It's like, okay, you don't need your resume right now.
I'm like, all right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think a lot of people really liked it, but
just every now and then.
Like I said, it wasn't bad.
This would have been a good mystery book, but I think just what makes it Christian fiction is that it was censored in some ways.
Yeah,
like there's no cursing. The farthest it gets is kissing.
Yeah. And I thought it was gonna like have more God things in it.
I thought there'd be a very heavy like biblical.
It wasn't
lesson.
as bad as I anticipated. It wasn't like throw it down your throat kind of book.
It's not preachy.
No, there were some things where I was like, okay,
yeah, right,
but I wouldn't read
really
another
went
one.
By those sections pretty fast, like the conversations of like, oh, let it up to God or whatever. It was just like a couple sentences, and then we moved on.
No, I thought it was good.
It was very readable Christian fiction.
Yeah,
very pleased. Pretty happy we ended the year on a book that has probably been our TBR the longest.
Yeah, I at least 2 years.
Like 2 years. When did this come out itself? Because we bought it used, so it obviously wasn't like a brand new book when we picked it up. But 2015, not that bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm impressed with us. Finally got her done.
Did we buy it pre-COVID?
We must have.
So then it's been over.
It has been on our list.
It's been almost 4 years. Right.
We don't need to talk about it. We read it now. It's done.
Read now, and that's all that matters. So, meh. Next week, though, I am so excited for Mel to read this.
You should check out our Baby Got Stacks podcast account on Instagram for our January schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh year,
Mm-hmm.
number 1 of 2024. Ashley has already read this, so this won't be her first read of the new year, but it'll be mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just let you know today's episode is episode 68.
You can only imagine what we're getting
You
ourselves
can
into for
only
episode
imagine.
69.
I noticed the numbering and I was like, we should. We shouldn't ignore it.
Oh, it's going to be a wild ride. Now,
Why not?
you said that you were going to read 1 and 2 because I've read.
half.
Yeah, it's. I don't remember how many.
It's real small.
Yeah, I was going to see how many pages it was.
Mm.
What do you mean an error? Goodreads? Absolutely not.
Mine was throwing a fit yesterday.
I got it. Also, can we just thank Sierra Simone for changing the covers of these books?
God bless. I would have felt extra awkward.
You're telling me I would have had that on my bookshelf?
He's not even wearing a top.
Believe me, he doesn't wear very many clothes. Okay. Anyways, let's get into. So the second book is Midnight Mass, and it's 193 pages. So not terrible. And then there's I don't own Gloria. I didn't know there was a 2.5. I own 1.5, 2, and 3, but I guess
that's what I own.
I guess there's a Gloria.
When did that come out? Because maybe she's like doing it after the fact.
April 2023. A Sinner short story. Okay.
Well.
Oh yeah, that came out. So Priest came out in 2015, and then Midnight Mass 2015, Sinner 2018, and then Saint 2021, and then Gloria came out in 2023. So.
Oh yeah, so it was after.
That makes sense.
Probably once all the hype was building on Instagram about these books.
That makes sense.
I
read this during one of our 24-hour readathons, and now I rate all my books from a 1 to a priest. So
that's the spice ratings. Yeah,
it's a wild time.
Oh man. Maybe we'll do an episode of like our 2023 reading wrap up or something.
Read cap. Oh wow. Okay. Oh, read cap. Like
read cap. Oh
wow.
That's what's gonna be called.
Okay.
Nailed
on
it.
Accident.
Well, yeah, check out our Instagram. We have a link in our bio. It can send you to our Goodreads. We have individual ones so you can see what's on our shelves, what we're reading, what we're up to. We have a TikTok. Maybe in the new year, that'll be our one resolution is to at least post one thing.
To try to do yes. Yeah, I need to figure that out.
Well, I need to figure that out.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Getting there. Like and follow wherever you're listening to this podcast. And hope you have a happy new year.
Yes, happy new year, everyone. Cheers to ending 2023 and on to 2024.
Yeah, ending it with Christian fiction and starting a new year with some is it labeled erotica?
It should be.
Dark
actually, you know what?
Or not fantasy, dark romance.
Let's see if Goodreads
some tags.
Let's see if Goodreads will work for me. It's just really struggling, guys. I don't know what
it really is. Let me see if mine does it any faster.
It's just
the answer is no.
Oh.
Yes.
The answer to that is no.
We'll figure it out next year.
I'm assuming it's gonna be erotica because
it's erotica.
Because you can't tell me. Oh, there's a priest movie that makes sense. That checks out. Do you think Amazon would have it?
Maybe.
Let's see.
I don't know.
It says fiction.
I sure hope so.
Could you imagine? I don't exactly know where. Yeah, it's number 24 in romantic erotica books. So that checks
There
out.
it is. Well,
That checks out.
all
Yeah.
right. Well, listen in next week when we do that.
There's just I just laughed because someone gave it 5 stars and just did yowza. Oh my gosh.
You know, that alone makes me want to read it. 5 stars.
So
Yowza.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get into that
That's
next
gonna be
week.
my scale. Yours is 1 to priest, mine is 1 to yowza.
That's so funny. Oh my god. That is fantastic.
Well, come back next week and we can see if it's a yowza for me too.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, see you later, guys.
Bye.